Okay, there we go. So I have no idea how much of a delay there is. The preview for my YouTube is like 20 seconds behind. So when I hit go live, you guys might have just seen me just sitting still for 20 seconds. But yeah, hey. So this stream series is going to be a bit of a different one. Long story short, I'm out of digital domain and I'm joining Framestore in around a month. And so I'm using my free time. Spent the last week just doing like all out on training, like physical training, not CG training. And I figured, it'd be nice to kind of do like almost regular work days, but on my own work, because I haven't done that since university. So it'd be nice to kind of see, for myself, like, what can I do if I do 8 hours a day of work? So the general plan, although I'm not going to stick to it because it is still my time off, I intend on doing basically regular work days. So start around 9 o'clock. It will be around 9:15 most days because it allows me to not rush out of the gym. But do 4 hours, get to lunchtime, do my usual stuff, have some food, go for a walk, then come back and start streaming until about 6 o'clock, 6:30, and then essentially just get a full work day in. So I won't stream weekends. I will just continue on weekdays, essentially. And again, it will be a little bit flexible because ultimately it's time off. But yeah, anyway, that's enough babbling. So, what's the project? So I've been meaning to do this since September, I believe, or maybe it was October. But I kept having delays that stopped me from doing personal work. But yeah, I found this painting online. It's called Transfixed. Oh shit, I should have checked the pronunciation. Alex, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your surname. But it's a amazingly talented painter called Alex Venzia, I think. His social media and website are both in the description. I really strongly recommend checking him out. His Instagram is just gorgeous. Like the paintings on here have something to them that I just really enjoy. Transfixed is here. And yeah, I just kind of fell in love with the painting. So I reached out to the art gallery where this was, and they got me in touch with him via email. So this is with his permission, which I'm really hyped about. And he's got a website as well. And there's some really just gorgeous work on this stuff. Like, honestly, check out his stuff. But yeah, so we're going to recreate Transfixed. The general idea, I'm going to try to keep this project fairly fluid. I don't want to do like full crazy pipeline. I probably won't be going outside of Maya, minus some clothing stuff and sculpting, obviously, and texturing. But I won't be rendering outside of Maya, is what I mean. So we won't be doing Katana pipeline or Houdini pipeline, anything like that. And I just want to keep like the speed of iteration. In terms of approach, I am just going to do like the standard digital work. I'll share like tricks and tips as I go. But for the background, I don't think I'll model it as like actual like leaves and branches and stuff. I'm thinking of kind of doing what I did for John Singer Sargent, or maybe even one of my other older projects, the Rowan creature, where the background is more like a painted, like it's a thing in 3D space. So like if you went to a photo studio, they're going to have like different paintings and stuff you can stand in front of to get like a good picture. Just because this lighting, it's really pleasant, and I feel like I'd really enjoy playing about with that, like as a kind of studio lighting, like using softboxes and stuff, rather than spending forever trying to get that sun just right. I will experiment with atmospherics and stuff to kind of get that softness from my sun, but I think it'll benefit most from being in a studio environment. And so kind of an artificial background might be quite fun. It'll also save me a ton of time, which I think is going to be quite important. I'm also going to be experimenting with the Rombo materials, which I'll explain more about those when we get to it. I won't be using aces. I'm trying the AGX view transform. If you don't know what that is, it's not a color space. You work in sRGB linear, so the standard workflow for the last like 20-something years. At least standard for people outside of studios. But you work in sRGB linear, and then it just like changes how the image is mapped to your screen at the very end, and it gives a really quite nice look. So I wanted to see what it's like to work with that, because I haven't worked with sRGB since 2016, 17. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I may also experiment. May also experiment with Lentil, which is the camera lens simulation that Xena Pelgrim's made. But yeah, that one's a maybe, because it depends on the amount of time I have for the renders. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop babbling. Check out Alex Venzia's work. Alex, if I'm mispronouncing that, please let me know. But yeah, so I'm just going to get on with it. This first session, up until about 1 PM Eastern Standard, will be relatively free. Like, I'm not going to get too deep into reference. Where the fuck is my pen? There it is. I'm not going to get too deep into reference. I'm just going to kind of freehand making a nice face, and then we can talk about some other kind of techniques and stuff later. In fact, actually, something I'm going to do. Kind of a little trick. It can save time, it can waste time, I'm not sure. Something I want to try out though is, if I create a sphere, setting the scale of a head is always a little bit of an annoying thing. So I'm going to just do it in here. So the radius, that's half the distance, so let's do 7.5. I'm just going to make a really basic geometry that just gives me the scale of the head. And yeah, this should be, technically be a little bit too big. Let's do 7. And do a cylinder. And the radius of this guy is also going to be 7. Let's move it down by 0.5. No. Negative 0.5. Oh, it's -1, okay. Height of cylinders is 2. Just drag that down to about like there or something. Fiddle hole. Triangulate face. There we go. Combine. And we have an extremely basic scale model. So I'll put that about there. Do above it setting the height correctly? I guess I should. What's the average height of a woman in centimeters? Average female height, centimeters. So in Canada, that's not right. Oh, that's male, okay. 163. Let's create a cube. Cube height 163, and then just put that to about there. Okay. That feels wrong, doesn't it? A bit of short. Maybe it's not actually. Okay, cool. Here's our head base mesh. So, do I need to put it all the way up there? I'm just wondering if I'm going to do a body for the clothing, so. Yeah, I'll keep it up here because it doesn't really complicate anything. So let's go export selection, there we go. Where's OBJ? There you are. Modeling, Maya, exports. Head, scale, template. Okay. Then we can just get into here. subtool, append, sphere, import, transfixed, modeling, Maya, exports. I forget, since I installed Houdini, OBJ files appear as Houdini files. That can be a base mesh. I mean, it doesn't. So, base mesh is a term that I think people can overcomplicate. This little geometry will just tell me how big the head will be. So if I just scale a sphere up, we now have something that tells me how big the head should be. So I can just do that, hide this, sculpt a head as normal, so go there. And whenever I want, I can just check that the scale roughly lines up. Technically, what I should have done is checked the height of the average female face, but I know the width is about correct for the sides of the skull, so I can just use the width. But yeah, so now we can actually start sculpting. I have to mute my other tabs before I forget. Okay. Yeah, so we're what, 20 minutes into the stream? 15 minutes into the stream, we haven't done anything yet. Let's go. Okay. Okay, I need to turn touch off. Display toggle, there it is. I haven't actually sculpted in months, so this is going to be interesting. There we go. Focal shift to about 50. How long did it take you to sculpt the sphere? Oh, way too long, man. Oh no, that's happening again. There we go. Let me set base material. Turn off the alpha. There's a video I saw ages ago, I can't remember who it was who did it, but someone like sculpted a sphere from a head mesh, and I still find that funny. Like, it's really not that difficult, but it is hilarious. So as I said, this first session will just be blocking something out. Like, I'm not going to care about it looking any good, I'm just going to get something on the page. And we'll use that. You know, you need to have something to be able to give yourself feedback, right? I need to set my draw. I always use that 85mm lens. Okay, so we know the skull is about the correct width, so I need to adjust the rest of the head. Adjust the rest of the head to make the width feel about right. And then she's got a really defined whatever that is. I don't know the name of it, but it's really defined on her. That's the thing, like, this face is just so interesting. It looks a lot like Digital Emily. Like, a lot like Digital Emily. Yep. I might need to replace this Wacom before the end of the project. Jesus Christ. No. The moon face. Jesus Christ. Okay. Come on. I'll change the color. Feels better. I'm really picky with my sculpting colors. Come on. It used to be really easy to find, but because I've not sculpted in so long, it still feels off, but I'll ignore it. I'll get back to it. Oh Christ, alright, yeah, it's been a while. Get rid of the crimson chin. Hey, are you not going to sculpt ears because they're hidden? No, I'll sculpt ears. There's no point skipping them out. Plus, like, well-sculpted ears are something that I find really separate, like, sculptors who care and sculptors who don't. People always, like, just don't spend enough time on ears. It always annoys me. I'm just like, come on, like, your entire sculpture matters. Let's say it annoys me. I don't get annoyed at people who don't spend time on ears, but it always disappoints me when like a really nice sculpt has really shit ears. So I always make a point to sculpt them. It's the small things that people look for as well. I've had this exact discussion with a supervisor fairly recently, actually, when I was at Digital Domain. I had that exact discussion with one of the VFX soups in the show I was on. And he was saying specifically about ears that he looks for those. Because if people really care about their sculpts and really put effort in, the ears always look right. That top lip looks strange. Cheekbones too high. No, I need to turn off shadow rendering too. Render properties. Shadows. There we go. Looks better. Not good, but better. Don't know how long ago that was turned off, but okay. It's bit low maybe, but we can correct it later. I always find ears are easier to sculpt if you start with Shrek ears. Because one of the hardest things about ears to sculpt is that overhang at the back. So if you just do a little circle, pull it out from there, you get something that's more like that shape, essentially. And you can just inflate to like get your thickness back in these areas. But that will be good enough just to get something in place. I got my sculpt sometime in the whip. It hasn't got a lot better. Just stuck with the focal. Just stuck on the focal length process. Don't overthink it. People really overthink focal lengths and stuff. Like, if you can't figure it out, just set it to 50 or 85 and forget it. Because really, like, you're probably never going to get it right anyway. There's a lot of factors that affect the way it looks. Focal length is just one of them. For example, if you have a 35mm focal length, but you're sort of really far away and zoomed in, it will look the same as like 150mm. These sides are asymmetrical, so at some point I've lost symmetry. Geometry, modified topology. There we go. Anyway, nice seeing you live again. Thanks. Really looking forward to seeing those Rumbo shaders. Are you going to use VFace workflow for texturing it? No, I'll probably use the 3D scan sort of stuff again, because I really like dealing with James. Like, I don't have anything against texturing XYZ, but I definitely got used by them, like when I was a student. So I try to not really work with them too much. For context on that, I did the tutorials for their cloth microfiber, micro map stuff, because I beat them to it. And my payment for 4 video tutorials was store credits, essentially. And I was a student, so I was like, oh my god, I'll get on the XYZ. And yeah, I don't believe in free work, and I think a company of that size shouldn't have allowed that, but it is what it is. It's a learning process. Don't do free work, people. Square ears. I will need to get some ref up for the actual ear work soon, but I just want to get something in place. So given that our ears are behind this headscarf, they will be pushed in a bit. So they might look quite strange in the sculpting process. Jesus. They might look quite strange in the sculpting process. But I think that's just going to have to be the way it is. Let's carve that in. What is going on over here? Ah, okay, yeah. It's one of the issues with sculpting with thickness, right? Okay, let's turn on back face masking. Brush, auto masking, back face mask. I'm also gonna save. There's really not much here, but it's worth saving. Projects, personal projects, transfixed, modeling, ZBrush, block out, and then we're just gonna say transfixed, char, model, block out, 01. Let's do 001. Totally get your point on that. Has become standard for production already. Yeah, I mean, XYZ maps are used everywhere. Like, they're really good maps. That's the thing, I don't have anything against them. I just, like, I like working with James from 3D Scan Store, and his stuff is fucking fantastic. So it's like, okay, win-win. I don't really have a reason to use XYZ when I get the quality that I need from 3D Scan Store. And yeah, James, if you see this, love you, buddy. That underbite though. The lower part of the eye should not be dominant, although it shouldn't be that far behind either. Got a bit of that Elon Musk mouth corner thing going there. What I'll do fairly soon is start getting some scan ref up. Just because it's not always best to waste too much time without having a ref on your screen. Again, at the moment, it's just a case of getting everything in place. As much as I enjoy 3D sculpting, being in the industry kind of gotten me tired of art and the computer 24/7. My goal is to start adventuring into traditional clay sculpting this year. Yeah, in traditional clay sculpting is a lot of fun. I don't do it very often. In fact, I haven't done it in years. I'm not going to pretend that I do it as a hobby. But there's a few points where I did it when I was at NPC, because they used to actually host classes in NPC London. And if you go on my Instagram, I think back in 2019, I was posting a bunch of clay sculpts, like sculpting still life of cloth, sculpting a foot, sculpting mouth, eyes. Never did like a full bust. Although I did buy the oh god, what's the name of the course? The likeness sculpting classes. Amelia, I can't remember her surname off the top of my head. I'm gonna find out because it's gonna really bother me. Let's see, courses. Amelia Rowcraft. I bought a bunch of her classes recently, and they are fantastic. Especially if you do like actual clay sculpting. They're really, really good. Okay, let's get these nostrils looking a bit less shit. Something to note, if you're a beginner, note how I'm not doing this. Like, for some people that works, but I've always found for me, I have more control over a shape if I kind of wrap around it. I get like a nicer fall off kind of by default, because I don't really have enough sculpting skill to make any technique work for me. Like, I'm a passable sculptor. I'm not gonna say I'm bad, but I'm really not very skilled at it, so I need to find ways to get consistent results. And for me, going around forms helps an absolute ton. She's got a little bit of that going on. That's not the shape, but we'll get back to it. That bulbous nose. It's a nose. Very strange looking nose, but it's a nose. I'm gonna get rid of that bump. And then I need that to kind of tuck in. The thing, I will use strokes that kind of go around when I need to create a line. Because another general tip is when you're sculpting, you're working with forms, not lines. So something that a lot of beginners can fall into a trap of is when they need like a nasolabial fold, like when you need that shit, they'll do this. Sometimes you can get away with that. I mean, you can definitely sculpt like this and then soften it out. But honestly, if you just go in with a clay buildup and kind of do this, then sculpt away down here, go back in, you'll get a more natural fold over time. Granted, that wasn't a very good example, but you know, you get the general idea, I guess. Do you have a deadline that you'd like to follow for this project? Yes, when I start at Framestore, I want to be done with this project. So currently that's the 4th of March, although it can get moved forward. If it gets moved forward, I'll have to move fucking quick on this project. And granted, I'm not going to kill the project if I get started early at Framestore. Like, I do want to finish this one, because I didn't finish Mona. I do genuinely want to continue with the Mona project. I just need to translate it from Katana to Maya at some point. Just because I haven't done anything with the Foundry for a while. The license will probably expire quite soon. I can reach out to them and ask for it to be extended, but like, given that I've not done anything for them for like a year now, it'd feel a bit selfish to be like, hey, like, can I get another year's license? Okay. So let's... I'm just gonna throw in some markers. Okay. Need to hollow this area out a little bit more. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just getting what I have to feel somewhat natural. It won't line up, but I just want it to feel somewhat like a human. And then we'll go about the process of getting everything kind of compiled. It needs to fit together, and then we can work on likeness. Something I've always found with likeness is if you like try lining everything up at every stage, you're gonna always be fighting the fact that it feels alien. For my eye, it's a lot easier to work if I make a face that feels somewhat natural, and then start lining up elements like kind of softly. And just through iterations, you will get there. It's a slower method, but it's a more stable method. And as I said earlier, I'm not good enough to kind of commit to something that relies on raw observation and talent. Like, I'm not a Sefki, you know, like that dude's a monster, so he can probably get away with that kind of workflow. But I can't. So working within your limitations is probably one of the biggest skills that's important to learn, in my opinion. Okay, so we need to soften out this part of the chin. This angle's super strange. So's the side. What role do you have at Framestore? I'm going to be a Groom TD again. Or Groom Artist. But everything's a TD at Framestore, apparently. But yeah, looking forward to getting back into Groom. It's been 3.5 years. I left the NPC Groom team in end of 2019. Because I switched to doing Previs for a while. And then COVID happened. So yeah, I would have left around like September, October of 2019. And so since then, I've been a hobbyist Groom artist. And been in look dev since. Like, I've been look dev at Blue Zoo, kids animation in the UK, then NPC over here for episodic content, and then the last 1.5 years was at Digital Domain. And all 3 were senior look dev, which is funny to me. Because like, as time went on, I kept the title, but at companies that value that title higher. It was a really weird time. Is this going to be the same as your previous portrait, or something different? It's going to be this, mate. Like, it's not going to be Johnson Sargent again, if that's what you mean. Oh, there we go. There's that click again. Yeah, it's... I don't know what you mean by the same as the previous one. I believe that keep iterating is the most efficient, solid way to work. Keep pushing and finding everything you're doing without losing consistency. Exactly, yeah. Like, learning how to iterate and learning that it's okay is so important. Because the thing is, like, when I was a student especially, and I see it a lot today as well, is I'd always be obsessed with getting things right first time. And as a result, I'd be terrified to actually do anything. And, like, I've quoted this many fucking times. I have no idea what the source is at this point. But, like, there's like an art director, like an adage, is like someone didn't do anything for like a few days, essentially, that is kind of fucked about. And like the art director got really frustrated and just said, at least do something so I can tell you how to fix it. And like, honestly, that little quote changed my mentality. Like, I frankly don't give a fuck how good something looks. I just do something and then I can correct it. If I don't do something, I have nothing to compare. And if I have nothing to compare, I can't make it look good. Like 90% of what we do is just do something, compare it to reference, correct it. Do something, compare it to reference, correct it. Over and over and over again for months to years on some assets. Years is quite rare, but I've seen it happen. Several times actually. My personal record was 8 months in one asset. And that's child's play to some of the assets I've seen. Okay, there we go. So I can have some fun with arrays, just because they're hidden. So I'm going to sculpt some more unusual shapes. Because I get bored of people always sculpting the exact same ears. I think that's something that defines my art quite a lot, is just the fact I get really easily bored. Like, I need to vary things up. Nope. Got a bit of that Cillian Murphy look. What was the last month like? What, like in studio? I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about like the state of the industry right now, because I think it's unfair to any studio to like say what it's like to people who don't currently work in the industry. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong impression of anywhere. Working on that asset. What asset? Oh, the 8-month asset. Okay. I was getting really confused there. So yeah, I mean, the last month of it was kind of wild. Like, honestly, the reason it took 8 months, I'm not going to get into what asset it was, because that would be starting to break NDA. But essentially, the reason it was 8 months is the reference kept changing. The client didn't know what they wanted, and it wasn't like a, like, hey, like, you know, make the fur like this, make the fur like that. It was back when I worked in Grim. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, can you make that bit a bit messier? It was like, oh, hey, can this bit look like this animal, and this bit look like this animal, and then this bit look like this animal? Like, it was all over the place. And it kept changing. Like, the amount of distress the animal's fur needed to go through was varying constantly. And so yeah, it was just a messy project. Well, not a messy project, it was a messy asset. But fun, very fun. Like, I did actually enjoy it, it just took way longer than any of us expected. Like, the discussions with my head of department at the time were fun. Because he had no idea what the hell was going on. And neither did I, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, that's the worst. Change our ref style about 7 times. Yeah, it's great. I love it. And the thing is, like, ultimately, as long as the client's paying for it, they can be indecisive. Like, I'm never going to complain about a client being picky with the money they're spending. Assuming they're spending the money and we're not just tanking it ourselves. But, you know, industry. I think it's one of the reasons that personal work is quite, like, actually legitimately important to artists. Because it gives you control. You can do what you know the asset needs, and not what someone in an office somewhere is telling you. Okay. The jaw is a bit of a problem, isn't it? It looks very male right now. Very male. I tend to sculpt the eyes pretty late in the process. Just because eyes are such a powerful part of the image that good eyes can make the rest of the head look okay. And the rest of the head is the bit that's difficult. I mean, all of it's difficult. Eyes are difficult to sculpt, but if you get the eyes right, you're gonna become blind to like the issues of the rest. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep kind of my awareness of what my asset actually looks like. The face looks weirdly familiar and I can't tell why. So I need to get up some pictures of female skulls. Because a lot of the landmarks I have memorized are male landmarks. Like, this is way too slanted. I'm trying to remember, like, for women, is it, like, it's, well, not like that, obviously, but, like, rounder, like, more baby-like? I should get some reference up. But, for now, let's just get this. Let's fill out the cheeks. Chin is way overdone, and also the jaw's not got enough fat in it. Oh, that side angle is lethal. Ooh. So she's got really big eyes. I think it's one of the reasons that I kind of fell in love with this picture, is the eyes are just so, like, they're just there. So, so cool. Always amazes me how hard it is to read a face without hair. Yeah, it's weirdly difficult. Okay, so let's get some scan references. 3D Scan Store. Another reason I like to work with 3D Scan Store is as a reference repository. Is repository a word? I don't think it is it? But for reference, it's fucking incredible. Just go to heads, HD head scans. Just find a head that's vaguely the shape you want. So, although she looks a lot like Digital Emily, so I can also search that out in a sec. It is eerie. Tell me that she's not Digital Emily. Like, it's really, really close. Maybe I can use, like, part of the Digital Emily scan. Like, to steal a bit of the model. Like, seriously. It's really close. I can definitely use these, like, for some general shading riff. In fact, yeah, I'm gonna hijack some of these images. Boop. Boop. Like, the resemblance is kind of uncanny. Boop. Oh. Boop. Does the artist have a picture of the person he painted? I did actually. I think I sent that question, but I'll ask again. But yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. So 3D scan store. Find something that looks as similar as possible to Digital Emily. I'm gonna put this on my other screen just so it's easier for me to see both. Can we search by? We can do young. We can do race. And we can do female. Okay. Out of the ones so far, these two are probably the closest. Probably more this one. Like, the resemblance isn't really there, but it's more about being able to see different like transitions of forms in scan. This one's got some stuff to it. Like, the eyes are too wide for her. Like, her eyes are a bit more accurate. If I morph the eyes to these. I think the lips of this, they're bigger, but I think they're more accurate. So yeah, let's try using this one. Yeah, the cheeks are bigger. Ours is a little bit more subdued. But like, this is where it becomes helpful, right? Because you can look at these like super close-ups in the grayscale. Well, not even grayscale, the grey skin. And it's just a really helpful ref. I think there's also, if you go off, in fact, actually that might be the better way to do it. Let's go to heads and SD head scans. I think there's more of these. Let's do female, young, white. Not these ones. So let's grab some close-ups from her. Just grab this. Use it as a vague 3/4 reference. So what I'll do is like use this for things like the jaw, just to help us like figure out what's wrong exactly, and what the general kind of profile of the brows and stuff should be. For example, we can immediately see our eyes are way too far forward, at least with the way that it's currently sculpted, which to be fair, isn't going to be the way it will be sculpted. But let's just correct that anyway. That immediately looks better. So we do need to remember that this model's cheeks are larger than our references. So yeah, we can immediately see that. The brow is too high. Yeah, like, this isn't her, but it just gives us something to look at compared to. Still looks very male. Funnily enough, she's kind of got the ear thing that I wanted to sculpt, which is the dominant lower part. Okay, so the skull's a lot rounder. Not that strong. Maybe not that much. It's kind of helpful, actually. Oh, did I colour pick the background, for fuck's sake? I might switch to green. I basically just like using monster clay colors. Just the way I think of it. Okay. A little bit of that roundness there that we're seeing. Then let's bring it back to main reference so we don't lose sight of what's important, which is the actual thing we're doing likeness of. So that chin is too narrow. Let's make it a bit wider. Push it back a little bit. Gonna fill that in temporarily. What was the most fun you ever had on a project? I'd say the most fun project was probably Sticky Monsters. The little puppet boy. He was a lot of fun. Like, that project was really liberal in terms of I had a lot of room to experiment, because ultimately Sticky Monsters is named after the fact it's sticky notes. Like, the actual drawings by Ken Mortensen are literally on a fucking sticky note. So there's tons and tons of room for interpretation. And I really like that. Like, I think one of the things that defines me as an artist is I like to have, not control, but I like to have the ability to put my own spin on things. I don't necessarily enjoy being told exactly how things should be all the time, which is ultimately why I do personal work, because in the industry, you're going to do what people ask you to do. Like, if you don't, you're an arsehole. So it's good to kind of always, you know, learn how to follow people's instructions and all that stuff. But it's not as fulfilling. It's definitely not what I became a CG artist to do. But I mean, I can still enjoy those projects. You know, you just change your priorities. You rise to the challenge of those sorts of projects. So it's less about being creative and more about like how can I do what they're asking for in the time that I have. So it's still like an interesting challenge. It's just a different type. But yeah, Sticky Monsters was really quite freeing. Really need to replace this Wacom. This Wacom's in its later years. Definitely its twilight years at this point. I've definitely over-sculpted that mouth corner. Let's bring that in a little bit. Need to go grab some water in a moment. Been streaming for 1 hour, which means the sculpt is 45 minutes in. Still feels really male. I don't think it's because it's not got hair. I mean, hell, lack of hair doesn't define masculinity either. You can have people look extremely feminine without hair. It's something I do find interesting though, is like something that's quite typical is for men, all of their sculpts, usually, on average, will look masculine, and then women's sculpts will typically look feminine. I do wonder like what the reason for that is. Again, it's averages, it's not necessarily always the case. But I do wonder what that is. Like, is it because we just see masculine features in the mirror every day? Or is it something else, you know? This cheek area feels really big. Okay, let's bring that neck in a bit. Maybe not that much. Hey Ian, how's it going, man? See, here it looks feminine. Kind of feminine. Less feminine. Okay, so let's look at the side angle with feminine ref. This gap is too large. I was giving it an underbite. Oh yeah, why is it's too dominant? There we go. Feels better. Should probably address the ears. They're looking funky. That looks really strange again. It's too wide, isn't it? Something I do need to remember as well is her mouth is slightly open and I've sculpted it closed. So the exact distances of things won't be the same. That feels kind of strange though, doesn't it? She got too much of a smile, I think. Well, it's not a smile, but too much of a twist up. It's like a really cute feature. But one of my tendencies as an artist is to always put it in, and it's just like, don't need to do that. Again, the things I was saying earlier about, like, I think I was saying earlier, about how artists will have, like, things that they gravitate towards. And for me, it's really cute lip corners. I always add them. Even when I really don't need to. Starting to feel female now. Oh, feminine. That angle looks very strange. It's just connection to the nose, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. Let go. There we go. That's what my Wacom keeps doing, is like, it will click in and then just not let go. It's like a dog that doesn't want you to, well, it wants you to play fetch, but it won't let go of the ball. Starting to get somewhere. Starting being the keyword. Just trying to find. Oh, fuck off. Just trying to find these planes. Not volumes really, but. Sculpting the eye open soon will be helpful, but don't want to do it too soon. Let's pull this down, pull that up, pull that up. It's going to do something that I usually find helpful, which is to force a plane change. Adding this line helps me find where the form's going wrong. This. How many heads should want to practice before pursuing any ambitious character design or likeness? How do you know when you're competent, especially if you're doing a lion face, orc, bear, human being? That's a question that's going to be a different answer for every single person on Earth, and ultimately you won't be ready until you just do it. If you're waiting for someone to give you permission to push yourself, then why? There's no harm in trying things too early. The harm is in not, you know, like, if you're really struggling to get something, there's no shame in saying, hey, I'm going to go do some different things for a bit and then come back to this. I think what happens to beginners, and experienced people too, is they get too invested in like their self-worth over a project. Like, if you're struggling on a project, just go do something else for a bit. Like, you'll do better when you get back. So yeah, in terms of how many heads you should sculpt, as many as you want. You will find more complex projects easier if you have more sculpting experience, but doing 1,000 like quick sculpts won't teach you a single thing about the detailing process. So you have to balance your skills out, essentially. You have to try to do everything at some point. As I like to say on Discord quite a lot, just don't overthink it, just do it. Throw something down so you can tell you how to fix it, you know? I think the most important thing is just to believe in yourself. Like, just, if you struggle, so be it. Like, who gives a fuck? No one gives a fuck. I haven't saved in a while. Should probably save. Ah, fuck. Sorry about old sniffling. Coming down from, well, recovering from a bit of a cold. I'll need to add shoulders. Okay, let's check against our head scale ref. Not too far off, but let's scale it up. Feels more correct. That's a very strange looking angle. Very strange side profile. Feels too long. The Walking Dead deserves more justice. Just got a ton of questions about engineering through some of these designs. Like, what designs talk about? You won't be able to send any URLs through this chat, but you can post them on Discord. Well, I won't see them. I should probably put Discord on my phone. Discord. Got sketches. So her traps are looking a bit artificial. There we go. She's swole as fuck. I'm gonna give her Ronnie Coleman shoulders. these should be fairly straight, but from the top should be kind of angled. Just doing that again. Okay, so let's spend a bit of time in the ears. Good enough. It's not exactly what I want, but it will just give me a starting point, really. I don't want to match this though. I want it to be a bit more full. So I'm going to terminate it over here rather than like this entire area. I'll terminate it like that instead. Now I'll spend some time making that look natural in a moment. I just prefer having those sorts of shapes. It's acting weirdly lumpy. I don't know why. But the brush just isn't responding the way that I'm used to. I don't know if it's a scale thing. Because I usually work like out of scale for a while and bring it into scale once I'm tweaking. Or it could just be the thickness of the mesh, or maybe my auto masking is set too aggressively. In fact, it's probably that. This is too far back. There we go. So this is a fictional shape, but I find it helpful to add at the beginning. It just helps me visualize like where things are, and then I can pull it back out. This is too dominant. It needs to be more like that. I need to crease these a bit. Flatten it out. I say crease. That's not the word I was looking for. It's really lumpy there for some reason. It's not a topo. Like, topo's not having a great time, but it's also not that uneven. Okay, so we're gonna smooth that out a bit. And then smooth you, but keep some of that. And then we just pull that in a bit. Yeah, why is that happening? Like, I'm not changing the brush pressure. It's just doing that. Maybe use trim dynamics, see what that does. Yeah, it's not having a great time either. It's doing better, but better isn't good enough. I'll return to it later. Let's just move brush to get the thickness of it right. Okay, standard brush. Carve that in. That's carved in. We can fill this guy back out. Is it a lazy brush setting? I'm gonna try turning off lazy mouse, see what happens. I don't think the lazy mouse depends on distance that much. No. That bit's getting fucked up though. We need to redynamesh for that. We're about to get a lot more polygons. Boop. No, we didn't. Sweet. Okay, let's redefine that. Because I quite like this bit to have a bit of definition to it. And again, like, arrows are hidden, so I can kind of do what I like. Let's reduce the roundness of this area a little bit. That looks a bit weird. What's wrong with your tablet? Is it out of sync? No, it's... essentially the left click gets stuck sometimes. It's a pen issue, not really a tablet issue. The tablet is also scratched, because I've been using it since 2012, so it's getting a bit fucked up. And during that time, I was quite heavy-handed when I first started using it. I'm a lot lighter on the tablet now, but back when I first started, I was like digging into that shit. So I definitely added some unnecessary years when I started. But yeah, we'll see. I would like to not upgrade, I'm gonna get the same shit. Like, honestly, for me, I don't want to go above Intuos. Well, Intuos Pro. This is an Intuos 5, it's not even Intuos Pro, it predates that naming. But, like, I don't really like Cintiqs, I've tried them a few times, just, no, not for me. I feel like my hand's in the way. Whereas in Intuos, you can get your, once you get your muscle, like, memory in place, like to how much of a movement translates to mouse movement on the screen. Once you've got that, you've got perfect coordination, and you don't have to worry about your hand being in the way. Like, you can see exactly where your mouse is. There's nothing blocking that view. I just prefer that, like, massively. I kind of want that round spec. I also want this to be higher. Yes, it is looking a bit weird. I'm ignoring the ref right now, I'm just sculpting to make it look good. I think this is good enough for me to return to later. Like, it's not right, but it's not terrible. It's an interesting shape, it's not the same generic ear that everyone sculpts. As I said, I get bored of what most people sculpt. It's the same shit all the time. Maybe I'm jaded. No, I am jaded. Okay. Is this close enough to get started on the eyes? Let's see. Yeah, I think the Intel's Pro is a really good deal. Relative to the other ones. It used to be better. I mean, I paid... well, see, I paid. My mother paid £170. Which is like US dollars now. I don't know, like 240, 250. Thanks, Mum. But yeah, it's... they used to be a lot cheaper. I'm gonna lower the Z intensity a bit. Get rid of some of that bumpiness. Low Z intensity on the clay buildup with no alpha is such a nice sculpting brush. Really good for likenesses. It's just so gentle that it removes texture from your shapes, which is sometimes what you want. Right, see how smooth that is? I can go smoother. If it's like 2 or 3, it's ridiculous. Okay. So what are the brows doing on her? But actually, come to think of it, let's check. Alex Ventia's page. Because it was a pencil sketch at one point. Did he ever post a pencil sketch on its own? I don't think so. I can also look at the way that he not sculpts, the way he paints other eye areas. That can influence. God, I love the hair in this. Gorgeous. This could be kind of helpful. Yeah, we can see a bit. I mean, this shadow drawn in here is quite helpful. This too is going to teach us a little bit. The thing is, like, obviously this is like the softened out version, but when you're like blocking out, you're going to be a lot more sharp on the shapes. And so I can see exactly where he wants light to hit. This sort of stuff is amazingly helpful. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. I think we should sculpt the eyes. Get something in place. So now's where everything falls apart. Just gonna draw them at first. It's quicker to draw them, figure out the general shapes, than it is to constantly redo them. At least the block out. Yeah, this is too wide. Let's just carve these out. So sharp. And that's how you sculpt eyes quickly. It's actually really simple once you work on establishing forms at the beginning. You can get eyes sculpted really, really fast. And now I just tweak them for 2 hours and 10 minutes until I go for lunch. Let's get that. Now, the final lower eyelid won't be as defined as I'm sculpting it right now, but I find it very helpful for just figuring out the character of a face, is to get a really defined lower eyelid, like kind of shelf, and then soften it. Because it allows you to really place the line for the expression, whereas if you start soft, it's kind of hard to find it. It's one of those artsy-fartsy things, and it's something I learned more from drawing than I did from sculpting. But it really, I find it helps a lot. There we go. So our eyes are too big at the moment. She's got a bit of that elite battle angel stuff going on, but I will need to drop in a roughly correct scale eye, which I'm gonna do now. Let's just grab. Let's go to Maya. Create a eye sphere, and then we're just going to set the radius of that to 1.2. Angle that forward. Something like that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. How about instead I just do that. No, it's gonna not bullshit at all. Okay. File, export selection. That's actually what I can do. No, I'm not. Export selection. I scale. Actually, what did I name? Scale template, okay. I could just get the eyes from my Johnson Sargent project, but or even the I 2.0 project. God, I'm clicking on everything that's not ZBrush. There we go. Jesus Christ. I didn't mean to do that. Append. Import. exports. Okay, so this eye, gonna turn off. The key is that we don't rescale this now. Okay, so this is showing me that the side is too far back. If we go into transparent, geometry, mirror and world. Too far apart as well. That'll be one moment. Hello? Hello? How long has I muted for? Because I think I just turned my microphone off. Anyway, I've got delivery downstairs, so I'll be one moment. About 3 minutes, really. I'm back. Right, yeah, so Amazon delivery arrived, basically. So there we go. Let's turn this down a bit. Cool. So let's continue sculpting. I hate to ask, but what is your Dynamesh at? Doesn't matter. I'm not even going to tell you. Is that enough? Don't get obsessed with numbers. I think, like, I sculpt quite a high poly. Like, I do sculpt higher poly than I recommend beginners to. But that's only because, like, the brushes I use give me the control. When you're new, you don't really have much control, and so having a lot of polygons gives you more room for error. I just have enough polygons to get the shapes that I want to. I don't need to subdivide later. Now, what you need is the minimal amount of room to fuck up. Right? You need to simplify it for yourself and make it easier. So use less polygons. Now, the Dynamesh number itself is frankly irrelevant because it's scale dependent. If you're modeling at a different scale, you're going to get different numbers. Let's just continue that across. Gonna try to get a flow that works. I'm guessing you said you hate to ask because you knew that would be my answer, right? I think the key is just to always apply critical thinking. Like, when you set your Dynamesh to a certain number, when you get an amount of polygons, you just look at it and go, that will do. Or do you think, okay, is that too many for what I need? Are my lines sharp enough? Are my shapes too blobby? If they're too blobby, you're probably sculpting with too many polygons. There we go. We're at an hour and a half of work. I'm pretty happy with that for an hour and a half. It still looks really weird, but I mean, I'm not too surprised. Haven't sculpted them forever as well, so it's gonna be weak for a while. But God, that bit looks so strange. I may need to find some specific reference for this. My intuition isn't quite there with this area yet. It is in general I can sculpt without ref and make something that looks appealing. Not necessarily accurate, but appealing. But this bit's a bitch. I think what's happened is I've overdone this, so it's ended up with a crease. Whereas as far as I'm aware, you never get a crease. It's always a scooped out area. So what I'll do is I'll fill it in and sculpt it out, and fill it in, sculpt it out, and that will naturally create that kind of scoop feeling. And then smooth. There you go. Looks better. I'm gonna pull that bit back a bit as well. So mine looks too happy. Just realised this place needs a shadow stream. Don't open in that screen. There we go. There we go. Then kill Discord. What's that? PDF creator. Yep, we're all good. Hey Zach, how's it going, man? Okay, just noticed a shape that feels very strange, which is this guy right here. There we go. Feels a bit less alien. So this area here is really soft, which means my natural inclination to like push that area in isn't going to work too well on her. Now it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not concave, it could be the lighting, but the way that I usually sculpt will almost always create a shadow, and there is no shadow there, so I need to pull that back a bit. Then I'll loosen out the bottom lid, but I'm still figuring out where I want that. Yeah, that feels a bit more natural. This needs to be pulled back. There's more of a male trait than a female one. Flatten that out a bit. That bone is usually somewhat planar, not too much. Hey Lucas, how's it going, man? So I feel like for her, it's about that. In fact, actually, I need to massively pull back this area. Like, a lot, actually. So if we line up the camera roughly with the angle... Yeah, Jesus, this area is way too big. So let's find that on this side. There we go. That feels better. That's actually a quick tip I can give as well, is if I was to do that on this side, the brush is always going to sit a little bit forward of where I want to change. Because it's really hard to precisely get your brush on the silhouette. So what you can do is move your brush on this side until you see the symmetrical dot, hit that silhouette. See how you see it kind of change angle there? Like it starts to shrink behind. So that tells you where the silhouette is, and you can just grab it. And using the alt press, which allows you to move along the normals, you can just push that in. So you're changing the silhouette, but you're way more controlled. It helps an absolute ton. Have you started a frame store already? No, I start in approximately early March. It depends on visas, and so my plan is to spend the next month with my work days doing this. And I do intend on having some time off as well. I mean, I've just spent the last week, like, pretty much only training. Like, gym training. And so, yeah, I'm still going to be continuing to do that because I've signed up to a transformation challenge at my gym, which I'm determined to win. But yeah, I plan on using quite a lot of my free time to do this. Oh, Jesus, that looks weird. Okay, let's fix that. See, this still feels odd. That's what it is. Okay, cool. I like this shape to be like more like bottom dominant, almost like a beer belly or something. Because it was like that, which looks a bit too strange. Side view's still looking a bit funky, but mainly because of that bit right there. Let's pull that up. Okay. There we go. So kind of want to do another pass on the nose. Because we're missing this form right here, this little shadow that we got. We have no amount of that, so it should just be a case of sculpting this in to get that line. Which I think that's about the right spot, but now I need to adjust all the other forms to fit that. You can never just do a stroke and have it work, like everything else needs to form to it, because that's just how organic shapes work. Everything influences everything else. I think Geo Nakpil talks about that really well. I think he's like head of Adobe Creative or some shit now. Definitely worth checking out his stuff. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we do one-on-one to the painting, I mean groom and all. So I'm gonna go fairly close in terms of likeness. I will be doing groom and all that stuff. I will be doing the headscarf, although I'm not entirely sure how. Like I could probably sculpt that easier than I could sim it. But I also kind of want to sim it, but that knot will fuck me up. So I'm not entirely sure on that bit yet, but yeah, I intend on making it close to one-to-one. Now I don't really have enough time necessarily to actually achieve one-to-one, because I do intend on, like, you know, when I start a frame store to, if this project isn't wrapped up, wrap it up very fucking quickly. Because I don't want to do both at the same time. I've quite enjoyed my new lifestyle of focusing on myself in my free time rather than live streams. Doesn't mean the channel's dead, like I will still do stuff, but I've just got a lot of benefit out of doing other things recently. Mainly health benefits, because your boys got into cardio a lot. Well, HIIT training, not just cardio. Currently transitioning into doing more weightlifting. So I've got an app that I use to track that, keep the general progression, and know what I'm doing. Or try to know what I'm doing. Not saying I already know. She looks tired. And this line is too sideways. I need it to go more like that. Now where's the tired feeling coming from? Is that this going too low? Do I need to fill this up more? That works. Also comes from this, doesn't it? Okay, let's get in there with a standard brush. Just gently draw that shelf back in. Jesus. That was loud. Let's skip that one. Sounds annoying. Okay, let's get this line. Now, using lazy mouse here would be smart, but no. I think there's a point to be made there actually, is like, so in that instance there, using lazy mouse would have probably saved me a few strokes, but the time taken to set up lazy mouse might have been longer. Well, time taken to set up lazy mouse and then get the right stroke might have been longer for something so simple. Like sometimes when you're doing stuff really simple, doing the perfect optimized workflow isn't necessarily quicker. It's possible to over-optimize work. Sometimes you just gotta do shit. Which is something I think I said like 8 times in a stream now. Like, just do something. There we go. See, I miss the, I miss the eyelids like that. I really like having that sort of shape. Can I recover it in some way? Oh, Jesus. Can I do that to get some sense of it back? I can! There we go. So it's still there, but it's softened. Shadow there is a bit funky. Note as well, if you're new to sculpting, note how often I talk about shadows. When you're doing 3D modeling, you're essentially painting with shadows. Form changes create shadows, and shadows create visual changes. Because the screen, you can't see 3D. You just see the effects of the 3D by the lighting. So if you need a shadow, then you add form to create a shadow. It's a very direct way. Sorry, not direct. Indirect way of finding the forms you need. But I find it works quite well. Just a little bit of a mental switch. How far are you from turning symmetry? Oh, fucking miles, mate. In one, because she's quite a pretty face, she's already very symmetrical. So I can stay with symmetry for a long time. And when I turn symmetry off, I'll want it to be as late as possible. Definitely after retopology, definitely after UVs, probably after texturing. As in, I'll texture asymmetrically. Well, I'll block out symmetrically and then texture asymmetrically. Before I break up the actual model. Oh, fuck. Oh, hey, Johnny. How's it going? Or noon, your end. No, it is morning here. It's 11:18 a.m. How you doing, man? Just do it, Shia LaBeouf and Mike. Yeah, me and Shia apparently agree on one thing. Which is that people just need to do shit. So I'm not going to spend too long on the body, just because I'm going to get most of that from after retopo or projection. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm still weighing up my options. I will be using wrap for this project, and I'm going to use one of my meshes. Now, the problem I've got is I want to use the Mona mesh, because that's the one I spent the most time on. And it's a female body, so although it's a very stylized body, it's still better than John Singer Sargent. What's the word I was going to look for? I might use the Mona body but then that means removing the horn, which shouldn't be too difficult because it just patched a hole, and redoing the ears, because I highly doubt the amount of edges around the ear is going to be the same as Sergeant. So I need to pick my poison, basically. If I do the Mona mesh as a base, then I need to find a way to connect human ears or do them from scratch. Or I can use Johnson and Sargent, have the ears, and then add a body. Now, the body's below clothing, and it's not even a full portrait, a full body anyway. So it makes more sense to use Johnson and Sargent. But we'll see. We'll see what I'm feeling. Vancouver, it's 8:18. Just drinking my morning coffee now. Nice. Yeah, I had my coffee earlier. Right, okay, so let's get back into that nose, shall we? So I want to pull that back a bit to get that line that we see in here. Let's look at the scan. This is why I like 3D Scan Store. This sort of stuff is absolute gold. I use that word a lot, but it really is. Let's use that word. Use those words. If any of you don't use 3D Scan Store currently, start using it. It's really nice. And tell James I say hi. The man with the famous foot. Which is a statement I will not give context to because I think it's funny. Okay, let's get that roundness in there. But I need to run some questions by Alex in regards to the reference model herself, the actual person. If he has that information, like who that was, or if it was just like a live painting thing. And also what time period precisely, or approximately at least, that she's from. Like, is it a modern person who lives in a rural area? Or is it someone from 100 years ago, or you know, what? Okay, let's get the neck. I always overdo the Steno Cloudos. I think everyone does, to be fair. That's her name. I don't know her name. Alex is the painter, if you know what I mean. If that's what you mean. Yeah, Alex Venzia. If you check the description of this video, there's a link to his website and Instagram. His paintings are fucking incredible. I fell in love with the Transfixed painting, but honestly, all of his paintings are very much the sort of stuff I like to see. Like, it's the illusion of detail in his paintings that really catches me. This song's a bop, I'll leave that. It's a very strange looking angle. We'll revisit that in a moment. The thing that people do when they sculpt muscles is to sculpt them as if they've got like near 0% body fat. Like everything's super defined for no reason. Or even like sub 10 body fat. like, essentially, when you sculpt muscles, remember there's essentially a blur filter on top of it. Because the skin has a thickness, which naturally that blurs things. Skin isn't perfectly tight, and it's elastic, so that will kind of, like, reduce the hollowness of concave areas. And then you got fat below that, and fascia as well. There's a bunch of things that really blur out muscle definition. And so you shouldn't really have sharp lines in your sculpts. Like, sharp lines are kind of not really a thing. Again, with exceptions. But for the average person, or a bulk of people, like not even average, like most people. So I'm trying to avoid the Adam's apple feeling. A bit off topic, I sculpt, but do you deal with the green tint? When you get an arnold and do SSS materials. So the green tint, I'm assuming you mean kind of like when you've got a red subsurface radius, you get kind of green on the mirrored side. There's two ways you can reduce that. One is use a less saturated red. Although as a base, I like to use... it's slightly different from the Arnold recommended one. The Arnold recommended is 1 red, 0.35 green, and 0.2 blue. I like to use that, but desaturate it a tiny bit. Basically, the less saturated your subsurface radius is, the less saturated its mirror color will be. Another way is to change the anisotropy of the subsurface, because basically what's happening in that green tint is light is going into the surface. It's then traveling through based on your radius. So if red can make it further, that means green is going to be more likely to bounce back and end earlier. So you end up with that opposite kind of color just occurring there. If you increase anisotropy, more light continues forward, and therefore light that doesn't get scattered, light that gets scattered quicker, i.e. your greens and blues, won't like get pushed back immediately. It'll keep going forward and just reduce in intensity. If that makes sense, I've kind of rambled that explanation. But yeah, having more anisotropy to forward scatter, I always get the order mixed up, I think it's forward scattering, will help remove that kind of secondary color artifacting. But a certain amount of it is natural to have. Like it's an artifact in how strong it is, but it's not an artifact in the fact it exists. Because Eyes and Renderman, I don't have that strong tint. Arnold is green as hell. With values they recommend. Yeah, I mean, I generally make it more of an orange tone, because I feel like the default values are too bright, too saturated anyway. So yeah, a bit more orange typically, and that kind of reduces it. Any value in mind for anisotropy? So I normally just do, I always forget it's negative or positive, but 0.5 to 0.8, 0.8 being quite extreme. Negative or positive, whichever one is the one that keeps the light going forward, which I think is positive. I'm not sure. But yeah, that should help. It won't necessarily fix the issue, and it will change the look of the skin, but it should help. Also, Johnny, while you're here, the videos you've been putting on your channel are fucking fantastic, by the way. Like, I've been sending them to students, like, left, right, and center. Really, really nice work, mate. And also, anyone currently watching who needs, like, good look dev and texturing tutorials, check out Johnny's stuff. He does some very well-structured tutorials. Basically, the sort of stuff I would want to do if I actually put effort into my YouTube channel. Okay. Okay, I need to address this bit because it's feeling a bit funky. Oh yeah, Johnny, I don't think you were here at the start because it was bedtime. But realised that the reference really, really looks like Digital Emily. Like, startlingly so. So that's going to be really helpful. The skin's a bit fairer on her, but that could also be the lighting, but she looks a bit less tanned. Okay. This bit's still not right, is it? This area in general is really fucking me about. Is that what it needs? It is. There we go. We need a bit more volume here. I'm gonna overdo it now, I know, but let's see. Actually, it didn't overdo it. Amazing. This area needs a bit more volume. That's a funky shape. Oh, that's weird. Let's fix that. Pull that corner into. I like the guitar on this track. This track's got a really nice guitar playing. Who is this? I'm gonna add this to my liked songs. There we go. Getting somewhere. Still a very artificial feeling face, but we'll get there. I've made the eyes too open, haven't I? Yes, actually I have, by quite a long way. I think when I added thickness to the bottom lid, I accidentally pulled things out a bit too far. That's the thing, because unless your camera is perfectly lined up with the normals of the mesh, you're always going to add a little bit of distance. That feels better. So that jaw is feeling a bit sharp. Let's round that back out a little bit. I'm in concentration mode right now. Lips too thin. What's this? This goddamn shape I always overdo. Let's pull that back a bit. There we go, it's better. Still overdone, but better. I think this needs to be rounder. Overdone. Feels like a scar. Soften it out. There we go, that's what I was missing. Okay. Not that side though. Okay. Let's get that evened out a bit. BST. Color. Fill objects. Okay, then not that. Color, fill objects. She's got very fair brows, but I still want to draw them in to give me an idea as to where things should be. Brows are extremely fair. I feel like they're going to be weirdly difficult to do. There we go. Let's just smooth. There we go. so it begins. Do I just go full pug? Just work like this for a while. Oh, we can do this. It's good enough for me. So let's do a darker gradient. Let's darken it even more. In fact, what I can do is mask it and then pick that color. There we go. Let's go to... Oh, fucking Christ. Can't right click on it. Okay. Now let's go to toy plastic. Color... No. MRGB. No. M. Color, fill object. Go back to basic material. God, I hate that. PST. Set this to black. Oh shit. Ah. It's not a perfect circle, but it doesn't have to be. That shading is so interesting. Too bright. There we go. Okay. That sits well enough. So we just go with black. Do that, do that, do that, do that. We have eyes, which are too large. Fuck this shit. Okay, so don't want RGB. There we go. That's gonna really bother me, isn't it? There we go. That's better. What else? Oh, sweet. Thanks, Alex. I'll check. Let's see. Thank you very much, man. I'll yeah, what I'll do is once I've finished this stream, when I go for lunch, I'll probably go through the Instagram, sort out the pictures off of stream, and just get them onto the reference sheet. Kind of pre-sort out, so I'm not just like going through someone's Instagram while people are watching, because that'd be a weird vibe. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the eyes are too big now, aren't they? I find this easier to work with, but I need to get used to seeing it without an iris. Brows are too high, aren't they? So we're now entering the weird uncanny stage, right? Where we've got past block out. And it's not Uncanny Valley in that, like, oh, it looks almost real, because it doesn't. But there is a stage of likeness where everything just feels wrong, and it's not by huge amounts. And that's the stage we're now entering. Is like, it's ballpark at best, but that's where your brain starts to go, oh, is it? Or is it just an alien wearing their skin? My favorite stage. This is the bit where, like, capturing the humanity of the person becomes difficult too. Okay. So things like the roundness of that top lid. I think mine's too thick in general right now as well. And this is too defined. So let's pull that back a bit. I'm going to remove the lip darkening. I knew something with them. Come on. Come back. There we go. The lid, like the kind of normal of the eyelid is getting a bit bent around. Like this bit's softer than these two bits, so it feels like the eye is kind of rolling over itself. So let's see. Come on, BTD. There we go. Got there eventually. Oh, it's doing that bumpy thing again. Okay, we're gonna have to do this with a wave brush. ZBrush is really weird sometimes. Like, there's very small changes in normals that can just completely throw it through a loop. So, let's see. There's clay buildup in this area, maybe. Clay buildup can be a very good trim dynamic. Okay, that eyelid is way too thick at this stage. And just like that, our eye shape will now be completely wrong. I keep ending up with this being too upwards pointing, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's not even a word. There we go. Okay. This area's getting a bit too much. It's another fun thing with this stage as well is you find out what all of the things you overdo are. For me, it's roundness of this area, this little mouth corner, and there's something else. There's a weird flatness happening here that I need to resolve. What else is it that I always overdo? It's the bottom lid, isn't it? Okay, I need to isolate these for a moment. There we go. Got a bit more of that plane going. Do need to increase this a bit though. We need to find the right angle for it too. There we go. Very vacant look in the eyes right now. It's also drifting back towards masculine, which always happens. Feature by feature, it will end up more masculine until I do another lineup. Well, I'll say another, until I do a lineup. But as I said earlier, like, I find it beneficial to get a face in place. And then, once you got it in place, you can line up really easily. Because with 3D, it's easier to make adjustments than it is to actually do everything. Whereas 2D, once you've painted a line, it's there. Like, you can obviously paint over, but you're doing essentially new work every time you paint over it. Whereas with 3D, just do a head, then change the size of the brow. You know, you can move everything around. It takes a lot more iterations, but it is a more predictable process. My cheeks are too hollow. I also think I've undersculpted this area. Let's add a bit more tissue here. Setting 85 to 120. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, just given that most photos are taken at a distance and cropped in, because higher focal lengths just make faces look prettier. So a lot of people like to be photographed on those higher focal lengths. Okay, I haven't saved in a while. Okay, so I guess now we try to do a lineup. it'll be an approximate, but what we can do is set mode always on top to turn that off. Zoom in a lot, put that about there, then see through. And then I need to angle more like that. What do I line up with? The mouth? Okay, so my face is way too short. Way too short. Line up in Maya might be a better way to do this. Not quite there yet. Okay. So obviously the bottom of the ear needs to come back a lot, but let's get the chin in place first. So there's the line we need to go for. There's where our chin line is. So just get that vaguely in the right place. Nose, down, mouth, down. So this will now be more correct, but it'll be wrong. It'll look really weird now. So brace yourself. That gets me every time. Okay, so there's our first lineup. And so now we continue to work on the forms until they look right again. And we do that forever. And eventually we'll get something that looks about right. So let's go to mode, always on top. And then probably once I've done this pass, once I've done this pass is when we take it into Maya and do actual lineups. I think I need to bring the eyes down a touch, don't I? The nose now looks better. It's the mouth that's kind of screwed. And then we'll move the ear in because that's way too much. Accidentally given a bit too weak of a chin, I think. It's so good. Like, honestly, like, this stage of likeness always just makes me happy. It just looks funny. Oh, man. Ooh, that nose got a bit crunchy, didn't it? So now it looks even more male than before. It's amazing how that happens. The face just feels so long now. Like, is it a case of my lineup being at too shallow of an angle? think it might have been. I'm gonna undo some of that change. Definitely need to be friendly on the nose. I've really oversculpted this bit. Okay, let's oversculpt the line quickly. That's close-ish. Like if I added some really basic hair. Oh no. Need to increment that. 5 is our change. Not change. Lineup. So if I was to add some like extremely basic hair to this, so just do. That hairline, I really, there we go. Actually, yeah. Obviously, this is hair that's technically stuck, but it kind of gives you some idea. So my cheekbone is too low. I think too wide too. Yeah, my cheekbone's too wide. Pull it in a bit. And I think I need to add a bit of mass here. Now that might be too much mass. Also might not. Let's... Yeah, I think we can take this into Maya. Because pretty soon what we're going to run into is circles. Just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I massively oversculpted that chin, holy fuck. You have a really masculine chin. Oh, it's one of those things that I find interesting is like, I saw a, like one of those fucking Facebook, like gossip ads. And it was one like, oh, like women with masculine features that make them look beautiful. And the thumbnail was just Margot Robbie. And it's like, once it was pointed out, it's like, she does actually have like a masculine jaw. But it doesn't look masculine when you've got the rest of the face, like, balancing it so well. So it's always one of those where, when you say a feature is masculine or feminine, it needs to be kept in context of, it could be, like, but it doesn't make the entire face masculine or feminine. So what time are you going to stream? So I'm going to stream for 1 more hour, and then I'm going to go have food, I'm going to go for a walk, and then I will stream again until 6 PM from whenever I get back. I'm basically just going to try to do work days until I start a frame store. So it should be a pretty good way of figuring out what I can do when I work full time. It'll help me gauge a future of freelance maybe, but I'm also not going to rush though. Like I'm just going to work as I want to work. This angle looks quite strange. But yeah, it will help me kind of gauge the future of like kind of what I can do and that sort of stuff. Okay. Well, the mouth looks weird. I've definitely lost some elements that I had before, but if I save this, it's gonna put that there. If I undo to before the lineup, oh shit, it's gonna be really far back, isn't it? Yeah, no, it definitely looks better now. New, old. Yeah, I've definitely lost some stuff around the mouth. My mouth feels very strange in comparison. But that's what happens. You just keep going around. So, is that on the latest? It is. Okay, cool. So, let's... It's 2 million polygons. Let's go into Transformation Master. No, T plugin. Transpose Master. T-pose mesh. Cool. Then decimate this. So Z plugin, decimation master. Let's take it down to 50k polygons. Alright, it's pre-process. This might take a moment. Okay, so let's set that to 50k. There we go. Decimate current. So we can do our lineups with this. I asked for 50k and it's given me... Oh, points, yeah. 50. Decimate current. There we go. Decimation Master is an absolute miracle of a tool. But yeah, so we can export this. I'm just going to go into my export settings. Oh yeah, it got changed, didn't it? Export. Projects, personal projects. Transfixed. Modeling. ZBrush. Block out. Exports. Block out. Decimated. I'm not going to bother with 01 and all that shit. Right, okay, so delete this. Move this off my screen. File. Import. Modeling. ZBrush. Block out. Exports. Do. Still sees it as a Houdini file. Weird. Okay, so let's get the camera settings. Do a 85mm lens. So now I can see it in 3D with like actual shading and shit. Looking a bit lumpy. while I'm here, Windows, Settings, Preferences, Color Management. AGX. Display native. Yep, that's all fine. There we go. It would be nice if I had a raw view transform. But I don't need it, it's just nice to have. I can always just change the material. Which actually I'll do. Just do a blend. List. Pin tab. Okay, so let's do a lineup. So panel, perspective, new. We're going to assume, since this is the painting, there's obviously no metadata. And I don't think we really need to be asking Alex what distance he was stood at, because it's as much a creative challenge as it is a technical one. So let's do ref lineup. And let's do ref painting lineup cam. Okay, and then into this camera, which I already had selected. Going to environment, image plane. We're just going to grab the ref and let's use the close-up. Where's depth? There you are. Oh, not that depth. There you are. Shading, X-ray. Hey Becca, first. Second, Alex, the painter, actually sent me the actual woman on Instagram. So I'll be opening that up like off stream, basically. But one thing I did notice actually, now that you're here, is this is Digital Emily. Like, it just is. It's eerie. So Alex, if you're still listening or watching, there's a head that's really famous amongst VFX artists called Digital Emily, which is an actress. I forget her surname, but a well-known actress, Gold Emily. And your model looks startlingly like her. Okay, so I need to rotate this camera slightly. You sent me a WhatsApp. Cheers. I haven't received it. Oh, it just now loaded. Alright, cool. Oh, I missed a bunch of messages. Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, she does look pretty similar. Okay, so I might switch from using X-ray. Here's a pro tip for you. Ooh, that doesn't like rendering, does it? Renderer. Let's do depth peeling if it's not already set. Depth peeling. That's better. Yeah, so we got a little whiles to go yet. But But I do need to I need to rotate the camera in the Z. Let's do 10. Oh, got it. Give me one of those, isn't it? Okay. Okay. What I'm gonna do instead then is set you to this, you to this. And then here's some hacky bullshit for you. Get behind the camera and do that. You can do this instead. If you need really precise lineups, you can get away with this hacky bullshit. And it works fairly well. So now we can just full screen this guy. Come on. I'm using that angle to line up the corners of the eyes, basically. I feel like everything needs to be bigger. That's getting close. Yeah, not too far away. I can work with that. Oh yeah, close enough. That's how I'm gonna work. So there's a lineup done. As I said, when I go away, I'll reach out to the model first, and just message us to say, hey, like, you know, Alex has passed on the stuff. I know he got permission. But I also want to kind of get that contact in there first, and just ask, one, does she want me to share her Instagram, like in the description, because credit, and two, is she okay with her images appearing in the streams, in terms of like, if I do a camera lineup with a sequence of pictures of her, is she okay with that? Because it's perfectly fine if not. I can just work with what's in the painting. So I'll chat with her off stream. I'll probably continue today just using this reference anyway, because you know it's early enough where I don't need to worry about other shit yet. This eye needs to be moved that way. But yeah, I think that'd be fun. Okay, so what changes do we need to make? Oh, that's lining up and that's not. Okay, so we've got some asymmetry that I'll need to address. I got that nostril surprisingly close. This nostril not close enough though. In fact, the filtrum in general, this needs to come forward and down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock this camera. Lock. Lock. And then may as well lock that as well. Okay. And then guess while we're here, let's do a diffuse principled. Arnold lights. Sculpting. File. I'll need to find some outdoors ref. Not outdoors ref, outdoor lighting that is like close enough. But the environment, scene textures, HDRs. I think forest might be close enough. I just need to set this to trying to remember. I believe it is linear. Okay, so I just need to quickly open up Task Manager. please. There we go. So I just need to set up something in Task Manager. That bit's looking a bit skinny, isn't it? So going to details, find Maya. I just need to limit Maya and like what it can use on the CPU. Otherwise, like rendering will just immediately crash the stream. Well, it won't crash the stream, but it will like freeze it for a moment, and I can't be bothered dealing with it. So it's going to set affinity. And what I like to do is just turn off the last 5 threads from Maya. And then let's find OBS and set OBS. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. That is by choice. But then what I'll do, disable everything. And then set OBS, make sure it's not crashed. Yeah, it's not crashed. So set OBS to using only the last 5 frames. And so now, in theory, I can render and it won't immediately freeze. We can dream. There you go. So now, we'll just go into our perspective camera. Update full scene. Surprisingly not far off. In terms of lighting. Like, it's obviously way too bright, but... Let's go into here, display. Let's say GX. Let's display native. There's AJX. Crunchy. Or punchy. But yeah, so now I can just go in. Arnold. I don't want you to be visible. Attributes, no. Can't remember wayfind render stats. There you go. Huh. So if I just go in and add a arnold light, an area light. Set the exposure to, let's do 10 to start. There you go. Let's do a nice warm light. Let's go 5500. 6500 I believe is sunlight, but we've got too much fill coming from the... Oh, it's really not happy. Oh yeah, yeah. We need to save UI threads. Yeah, it's still pretty slow. There we go. That's ballpark. It's too high, but it'll do. Let's make this bigger. This is a scale thing, isn't it? Unless it's already enabled. Good, good, good. And there we go. We have an extremely basic light. What's the word? Oh, not word. Turn on progressive rendering. Add some more of these. Don't need any of these. Don't need any of these. I'll keep SSS on for now. Don't use that. Ray depth. Let's do 3 and 3 and 1 because I'm not using it yet. Set that to 7 because I don't need any more than that. There we go. Let's also increase resolution. We'll stick with HD for now. We'll do the higher res renders later in the process. Yeah, so there's a Rombo diffuse material. I might replace that. Oh, it actually has reflection. Alright, sweet. So IOR, let's do 4.2. Slope, I haven't learned how to use yet. Roughness will set around here. It's not like a subsurface like scatter type thing, it's a different thing altogether, but okay, there we go. So that will be my test render scene for now. For a little while anyway. So I'm just gonna change our scene. So obviously you need to spend time to get the shadows right. More than likely need to darken this guy. In fact, let's set that to -1 exposure for now. We can increase this. There we go. Come on. There we go. So that's 10. It's too close to it, look a bit funky, but there we go. Sweet. Yeah, both of those changes were not really what I wanted, were they? I'm also getting too invested into this too early. So we'll end that there. Go back to my lineup camera. And what we need to do is open up the hypershade. There's my Rombo diffuse. Where's my blend? There you are. So what we need to do is plug you into there. Plug you into there. So in viewport, it's using the blend, but at render time, it's still going to use Rombo, which still allows me to do this stuff. Okay, so bottom lip needs to be thicker. lip line in general needs to come down, although her mouth is open. So eyes are in roughly the right place. I need to remove a lot of volume from here. Like a lot of volume from there. So I'll do that first, because I think that would make the biggest difference in terms of the feminine thing too. And this eye needs to be punched up a bit. What else is there? Need to reduce the kind of roundness of that shit. Bit more mass to the chin. Okay. I wonder if it's worth just staying like in this decimated version for now. Because I can always re-dynamesh it. Nah. Let's subtool, delete. Okay, so we need to remove a lot of volume from here. So let's do that first. So that'll be the brow and here specifically. It's a bit aggressive maybe. So let's okay. And this bit here needed to come down and forward a bit. At least it looked like it did. You need to be pushed in like that. You need to come down. You need to come down. You need to come down. So it's all coming down. And there's that stretched face look again. And let's just try. I wonder where specifically is that coming from? Is it coming from this being too? I think it is, isn't it? I don't want to give her an underbite, but I think what's happening is my bottom lip is too dominant. So I need to pull that back a lot. And that includes down here. Then bring this out to compensate. I think I just over sculpted the shape change there. And then what was the bridge of the nose doing? Bridge of the nose is shockingly okay. Oh, I need more volume here, don't I? Yes, I do, but quite a lot. No, there we go. So here, need a ton more volume. This feels a bit too right. It feels kind of like that kind of monkey mouth thing, where it all kind of comes out as one volume. So I need to reduce that a little bit. Again, like some people do have that kind of feature, but I think for her, it's looking too strong in my sculpt. Okay, so then save our scene. 6. Z plugin. Let's do transfers master. T-pose mesh. Decimation master. Okay, Z plugin, decimate current. Ooh. Okay, export. It's gonna keep taking me there, isn't it? Projects, personal projects, transfixed. I'm gonna get really quick at this series of clicks. Okay. So I need to reference this in. File, reference, editor. ZBrush, blockout, exports. Okay, then all we're gonna do is assign this guy again. That still works, good, good, good. That will also decrease the size of our scene too. That's closer. Still not enough on the old brow though. Mouth is closer. Nose is closer, but not right. Yeah, so I'm gonna... Oh, the forehead as well, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's way off. Okay, so working the brow, the forehead, and still a little bit more on the nose. It's just a bit too small. It's annoying because this silhouette here lines up. So this bit as well, technically it looks like it's coming out too far, but it's also probably behind the headscarf. So I shouldn't be able to see that anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do my favorite thing, the Intensity 2 clay buildup. Behold my all-time favorite sculpting brush. It's just an absolute amazing brush for just reducing volumes. And then we need to reduce this bad boy. It just does it so softly. So nose, we need to add more volume, didn't we? Again. Including to here. So it's going to be one of those where I'm convinced I'm adding too much until I get it right, and then it will fit perfectly. It's the same thing that happened with FK Twigs. Like, for a long time I refused to set the neck to the length that the reference was, because it's like, no, it has to be like a trick of the camera. But I realized that if it's a trick of the camera, and I'm matching the camera, it shouldn't matter, I just match the fucking ref. And that's what I was saying earlier, like, just do the thing. Like, don't overthink it, just do it. I'm removing volume, why am I doing that? Okay. That's... You should play with the alpha of your panel instead of tweaking the transparency of your mesh. Can make your life easier. Depth of your panel. Wait, alpha of your panel? Am I about to learn like a life-changing setting? Okay, I'll check that in a moment. I'm just gonna get this mesh ready to go. I need to bring that bottom lip down to touch more. This feels strange, but that feels too low. So where is it? Where's the issue? It's just... I should probably make a macro for this process. Let's do transpose master, depots mesh, blah blah blah. That's fine. Decimation master, preprocess current. So in about 15 minutes, I'll end the stream, just so I can go eat some food and go for a walk. And then I should be back like 2:30-ish Eastern Standard. And that's when we'll continue to work until about 6 PM. So let's do decimate current. Then export. It's always going to take me there. It's easy stuff. Projects, personal projects, transfixed, modeling, ZBrush, blockout, exports. Should probably just set that as a pinned file or folder. So something about an alpha in here. First off, let me just go into not you. My reference editor. Reference, reload reference. It's closer, still not right. Okay. So if you select your panel shape in the attribute editor, okay, it's panel. I'm actually not sure how to select the panel shape. Maya select panel shape. panel, shape editor. That's not what I want. Right there on your right. What? Oh, like what's it near? I don't see it. Unless this is what. Oh no, that's the on the actual editor. Oh right, you mean have the reference in front? Okay. Yep. Yes, let's bring the reference in front. Okay, fair enough. Let's get that. So I was really confused when you were saying panel. I was like fixated on the actual viewport panel. But yeah, no, that makes sense. Alright, let's set depth. Not that depth. Did this exact same thing before. There we go. So let's do negative 100. Come on. Can I not set that to negative? I guess I just have to do a really shallow depth. Okay, fair. So what I need to find is like to set up a hotkey that hides geometry and then shows it again. It's getting closer. Also, I'm happy with how quickly I got it to where it is. So let's need to be pulled in. Yeah, I was thinking negative depth, but obviously that would put it behind the camera so you would never see it. I don't know why I was thinking that. Okay, so yeah, this is still so far out. So jaw needs to come down a touch. This area right here needs to be less wide. Need to soften out this area in general. Cheekbone in. Yeah, let's do them one at a time. So first off, let's get the jaw. This would be a lot easier if I had a retopod model in Maya. Control 1 can isolate geo or image plane if you. Oh, okay. So let's delete this guy. So we're just going to go through, smooth out this entire area. I'm smoothing out using the clay buildup set to a very, very low intensity. We need a bit more mass down here. So just bring that a little bit lower. And soft. The cheekbone was too far out, so let's push that back in a little bit. Compensate by bringing this area in. This was too wide. And I think it was too tall as well, right? It needs to come down just a touch. The lip line, I mean. So let's get that in there. Back into ZBrush. Gentle on this one. Okay. This needs to come in again, so let's do this one a bit more carefully. It could be that. looks weird. Okay, and then what was it with the nose? It's just bigger. Like everything just needs to be bigger. I also think this needs to be brought forward. Oh, there's also this side of the nose too. Oh yeah, this has got really pulled back at some point. Okay, so let's get you, which allows me to pull this forward, which probably fills out there. And then this guy needs to come down. This also needed to come over a bit. Okay, where are we doing that? Yeah, I think that's what I need, is the brow was too far forward. So that allows me to keep the brow shape. There we go, feels human again. It's not correct, but we'll see. Hollow this area out. Raise this bit. Yeah, this feels off. Like, does that need to come in maybe? No. Maybe that's what it is. Once I line up with more ref from the model, it should be easier to figure out. Save this. Okay. Z plugin. Transfers master. T-pose mesh. Transform. Z plugin. Summation. There you go. Okay. Export. Just remember where I'm fucking like, ugh. Projects, person projects. Transfixed. Modeling, ZBrush. Okay, Maya. Reference editor. Da ba da da. There we go. That's closer. It's not quite right, but it's closer. Got a bit of a weird lumpy thing going on here. But I think for now, that'll do, because I need to go and eat. I'm getting quite hungry. Yeah, for the most part we have something. That eye is in completely wrong place though. I feel like my head needs to be turned slightly. Okay. I'm gonna regret this. I need to do something more like that. That feels more correct. It allows you to bring the face further forward too, which is one of the things I was struggling with. Changes the shape of the nose a bit though. Honestly, it might be worth me getting some retypo in there pretty soon. I'm gonna fix the volume of the skull. Not now though, I'm gonna do it when I get back. I think that's more accurate. Let's alt save this. And lock this again. Alright, sweet. Well, I'm gonna fuck off now. Eat some food. And then, yeah, when I get back, I'll start live stream again. I'll let you guys know. I guess I won't be able to let you guys know very easily. I'll put a message on Discord when I'm like 10-15 minutes out, because I'll eat and then walk. But yeah, when I get back, we'll continue, obviously, blocking out Sculpt, because we're only 3 hours in. Or 4 now. But yeah, I'll continue on that. Maybe by the end of the day, we'll quickly reproject some topo with wrap, just so we got something to kind of tweak a little bit easier. And yeah, we'll go from there. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the first part. There'll be an average of 2 parts a day, I guess, for a while. So yeah, I'll end the stream and catch back up with you guys in 2 hours or so. Cool. Peace.